Welcome to episode 5. Today we're going to talk about something that I find really inspiring. For those of you who don't know me, I am Paul Sparks. I teach spirituality, I coach people one-to-one, and I also do online classes. What I would also like to add is a big thank you to everybody who's been watching the vlogs and giving me your feedback so far in the first 5 weeks. I also do a monthly class online. The link is always in my bio on Instagram, and we talk about a range of topics that are really universal. So if you'd like to dive deeper, then I'd love to see you there. This week, I want to talk about something really important, which is the power of taking the jump, of taking a leap. Right? I think that with spirituality, very often we focus on elements such as how we think, our mindset. We talk about, the things that we say, the power of our words. But actually, one of the things that I want to focus on, because arguably it's the most important, is in our actions. This week is particularly powerful to think about situations where we're stuck. Right? How many times have you had this in your life that no matter what you do, it could be in your relationships, it could be in your career, you just feel that things aren't moving, or even emotionally, we're holding on to things that we've tried a million ways to let it go, and we're still holding on to pain and old belief systems and things from our past, and we're really struggling to move forward. I think this week is a unique experience and a time for us to think about what does it really mean to jump in, to take that leap of faith. I guess the starting point is, why don't we do that? So if you think about it, every single one of us as human beings has limited beliefs. We have a smaller perception and we don't understand the unique potential that every single one of us brings to the world. So all of us are able to achieve great things. We are arguably nowhere near our potential, and a large proportion of that is due to how we view our circumstances. We don't think we can do it. We don't think we're good enough. We don't think we've got the skill set. Maybe other people told us that we couldn't do it. And I think this week is an opportunity to understand and to look on a deeper level at where am I holding myself back? Where am I not taking the actions that are going to propel me forward in my life? And I think one of the main limiting beliefs that we have is that I'll do it tomorrow. I'm not strong enough, right? It's this understanding that will hold us back from the things that we really want to achieve in our lives. One of the reasons that we very often stay in the same cycles is because we don't have certainty in the outcome. So we really go into self-doubt. None of us can see the future. We're not clairvoyant. So when we are looking at a situation, one of the reasons that we don't take the action is that we don't know what the outcome will be. And what that leads to, because we don't have that ability to see the future, is we fear. What if it doesn't work out? What if I am surrounded by doubts? What if it ends the relationship that I'm in? What if I lose money? There's like a million things that we create because we don't have certainty that whatever we jump into will take us forward in the path and take us where we need to go. And I think that one of the big, profound lessons that I really got from my teacher was this idea that is quite revolutionary in a spiritual way of thinking, in that in the realm of emotion, when we want to change from that perspective and how we feel about something, we can never make that true change through the power of thought or the power of speech. Really big lesson, right? So if you think about it, let's make that practical. If a woman is, God forbid, going through a divorce, she's holding on to that, she's really holding on to the memories with that person. It's been 10 years and, she's went to therapy. She's talked about it a million times to her friends. She's been over the details of it, right? And what she may find is that she will stay stuck in that loop until she takes action. So when she thinks about it, she tries to visualize it in a more positive way, or she speaks about it loads and she goes over the details. The thing that's going to propel her forward is when she downloads Tinder and she starts to go on dates. Once she's started to take that action, maybe she's meeting 5 or 6 different people and one date's worse than the other, but at least she's out there, she's taking action. And what that does is it allows us to change from an emotional point of view. That is what allows us to move forward. So what we're saying here is this week, I want you to think about that one area of your life that you feel is stuck and to take action. It's about having certainty that if you jump in and you just go for it and you take one action that feels scary or is in that direction, it is going to take you forward. It's going to take you maybe not straight away to the ending that you want, but it's going to move things forward in the right direction. I can share a time in my own life where this happened, where I was about 16, 17 years old, and the biggest dream that I had was to leave Glasgow and to go and live in America. That was always the dream, right? And I hummed and hawed about it. I knew that I didn't want to live in Glasgow. I didn't know where I would go, how I would make it work. And I had naturally a lot of fears and uncertainty about the situation. My friend actually invited me along to a uni seminar at the time to hear about a programme called Work America. And that allowed you to go and spend a summer working in a retail job. I didn't want to do Camp America, but allowed you to go and experience something for a summer. And I decided that I would just sign up. I remember sitting on the plane and being on my own and going to the other side of the world and having no concept of what was going to happen or the people I would meet. I remember arriving, so I got a plane and then I had to get a boat to the island that I was living on. And I moved into this house full of people that I didn't know. I'd never really left home before. I'd never had that experience. But I jumped in and went over and above all the limiting beliefs that I had. I knew I was scared. I knew that I didn't know how it was going to go. I knew I didn't have friends over there. Now, what's so interesting is it became one of the most formative experiences in my life. It really taught me independence. I had so much fun. I met unbelievable people that I'm still in contact with today. Now, the outcome wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. I ended up going back for another year. I got to the end of that period. I had the option to stay. And there was a complete turnaround in my mindset where I knew I had to come back to Glasgow. I had a desire to come back home. And actually, all of these years later, I love where I live and I love the life that I've created for myself. So the outcome wasn't exactly what I wanted, which was that I was going to live in America full time. But that experience gave me such a rich understanding of myself. It made me more resilient. It made me more independent. And so I learned so much from it, even though it didn't have the outcome that I thought it was going to have. And really what I learned from that is that by taking that leap, by taking that step, by feeling the fear and doing it anyway, it gave me a fantastic positive result. Many times we get caught up in these two stages of thinking and trying to think in a more positive light or trying to reframe the reality. And we find that 9 times out of 10, that doesn't really work and it doesn't create an authentic change within us. The same applies to how many times have you had a situation, I know I do this, where you talk it to death. You go over every single tiny little thing that happened. You talk to anybody who will listen to you about it. But in that realm of thought and of speech, you're not seeing the results of the change that you're looking for. And so with spirituality, and certainly the spirituality that I've learned and that I teach the people who come to me, is the most important factor is that you put actions in place, right? So this week, I want you to think about that one action that you can take. It might feel scary. You may be uncertain as to how it ends for you, but it's to jump in and take that leap anyway, because that is what's going to take you forward.